What's going on, Q Crew? You guys are tuned into another Q Pill reaction, and in this dose right here, I'm going to be reacting to the Steven Crowder divorce situation and the leaked edited video footage of what people are calling him being emotionally abusive to his wife. Yes, people are outraged over this horrendous exchange because, as we know, men are not allowed to criticize women, shame women, judge women, hold women accountable, get upset with women, say things they don't mean to women, or say things they may end up later regretting to women. No, men have to be stoic and unbothered, nurturing, caring, supportive, and sensitive 24/7, 100% of the time, regardless of their circumstances or situations, no exceptions. But before we react to it, make sure you guys hit that like, share, subscribe button, turn on your notifications, share my content with your family, your friends, your colleagues, and your peers so that they can all get a dose of the Q Pill as well, because I'm about to go the fuck in. And I don't give a damn who doesn't like it. If you would like a copy of my book, or some merch, or a one-on-one consultation with me, all those links are below in the description box. Without further ado, let's get a dose of this shit. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar, I am indeed a certified relationship coach. I have 130,000 followers cross platforms, and I work with couples and singles on the daily in my personal life. So there's nothing that I haven't seen. There's nothing that I haven't experienced. There's nothing that I haven't heard that goes on with couples and the conflict that they deal with one another. It's one of the reasons I became a coach in the first place, so that I could take the biological differences in perceptions, attitudes, values, and behavior and integrate them and show men and women how to still operate in those domains while loving each other, and how to look past the differences about one another that they may not like so that they can still remain in a relationship. So when I saw the footage of Steven Crowder talking to his wife, this was nothing to me. This was nothing to me. This was not unusual. This was not abnormal. This was not an outlier. And yet we have an internet full of people who are outraged, who act like they've never been an individual in this situation. They've never seen this. They've never experienced this. Just a whole bunch of biased, distorted, morally high, virtue signaling individuals who act as if what Steven Crowder did was bottom of the barrel. They've never seen worse. It couldn't have been worse. So we're going to take a look at the Steven Crowder footage. We're going to take a look at the footage of him and his wife. We're going to take a look at his announcement of him getting a divorce. And we're going to take a look at Candace Owens' assessment of what transpired, because I think her assessment is what the general public consensus, I think that's how they perceive this instance. And it just goes to show you that men are always going to be vilified, even without context. People are always going to be irrational. They're always going to get inflammatory, radioactive over things that they see anytime it involves a man doing something to a woman. Women, however, can do whatever they want to men whenever they feel like it because of their emotions. Women can cuss men out. They can hit men. They can talk down to men. They can manipulate men. They can raise their voices at men. They can do all of these things. Everything that we vilify a man for doing to a woman can do to a man, and we'll rationalize it, we'll justify it, we'll laugh at it, we'll brush it off, we'll look past it. I take issue with that, because if you're a man who's worked your way up to a certain level, a certain status, a certain level of prestige, and you've put a certain amount of money in your pocket to be able to provide and protect your family, then there are times as a leader where you absolutely have to step on some toes, hurt some feelings, be insensitive, show some tough love, say things you may not mean, say things you may regret. That comes with being a leader, because part of being a leader is maintaining order and structure in whatever you're a leader over, whatever you reign supreme over, whatever that domain is, whether it's the workplace, your marriage, your kids, your church, your community. In order to lead, you have to demonstrate some repugnant characteristics sometimes. And if this were not true, this would not be something that is common. But it is. It is common because it's true. So let's take a look at Crowder announcing that he's getting a divorce. Then we'll look at the footage, and then we'll look at Candace Owens' response.
I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now. Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice.
Okay, first let me just stop it right there. I'm glad he said that, because infidelity, physical abuse, those are the two concrete concepts that we know are morally reprehensible and unacceptable in relationships. Physical abuse being an actual crime. But we know those two things are concrete, definitive, no vagueness, no room for interpretation, not open-ended, not abstract. We know what infidelity is, and we know what physical abuse is. So I'm glad he said that. And he said that he didn't want the divorce. This was his wife's idea. No surprise there, as 70% of women initiate divorce for irreconcilable differences, or in layman's terms, incompatibility, because they no longer simply want to be in the relationship, because they no longer feel how they once felt about the relationship or the guy they're in a relationship with.
My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad, and that divorce is horrible.
And he's heartbroken. He believes that this is his deepest personal failure, and understandably so. As a man, you know, when you do things the way Steven Crowder has done, the traditional conservative way, you expect to be married till death do you part. You expect to have kids with this woman. You expect this woman to be there. You expect to be intertwined with this woman under God for your whole life. You know, this is his lineage. This is his legacy. He's invested everything into this, and I'm pretty sure that his greatest accomplishment was feeling like he had a wife and that he had created a family that he provided this life for. So it's only natural to feel like your number one motivation for living, now that that's being taken away or being broken up or being compromised, jeopardized, is going to make you feel like a failure, is going to make you hit the bottom completely. So that's a fair assessment. I don't think he's exaggerating in any sense of that. I think he's being honest and transparent about that.
But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter. In Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period. So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys, what have you, legal jargon. Now, in all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless, completely without fault, and so we decided to resolve these issues privately, as it's in their best interests, both emotionally and physically, to do so. Now, the other issue is...
And let me just say before he goes in on this, I don't really want to get into him and Candace Owens' beef about him saying that she's attempting to extort him, but I do believe that the rest of this clip is pertinent to the conversation, because her response is why she responded in the first place, because she got dragged into this by him calling her out in this video. So I just wanted you guys to know that I'm not doing a reaction to their actual legal battle or the legalities of him versus her, and her saying he defamed her or him saying she extorted him.
And this is something that I've kept private for likely far too long. Many other people knew about this behind the scenes. Some, not all, but some of them in positions of power, influence, leverage, knew of this. They also knew that the safety of my children included keeping it private. So if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well. Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Stephen has a lot going on. I guess it's the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives. I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. You know, Stephen purports to be a Christian. I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that. You know, maybe if I feel in further defense, some things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Let me just say, she does sound malicious right there. She sounds malicious. I don't know what her issue is with Crowder. I guess it has to do with the Daily Wire situation and him saying that, you know, the Daily Wire was part of big tech or whatever. That's neither here nor there, but she did sound malicious in that clip. I'm going to just leave it. I'm going to just say that, leave it there. Here's the edited leak footage on the ring cam that somehow got leaked out of Crowder and his wife. Let's take a look at this.
I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries. There's no groceries.
And let me just say, you guys heard him. I drew a boundary here at abusive and cruel. So I'm guessing that's the things that she isn't allowed to say to him. I don't know what the backstory behind that is, and that's why this is important, because there's not enough context here for people to have judgments and conclusions about his character or the state of their relationship. All we know is what this clip has shown us, and this clip has not shown us full context. It's not given us the full context and extent of what is actually occurring here, or where it started, or what it's actually about. But people don't think that far. As a matter of fact, people don't think at all. That's why I'm making this video, because I've seen what people have said, and it's understandable for women to feel that way. I mean, women, of course, women are going to stick up for women. Women are going to stick up for women who have dealt with a man who have told them something that they dislike or that they disagree with or hurt their feelings. Of course, that's going to resonate with them, because believe all women, you know, women stick together. Women empowerment, uplift women. Anything that a man does to a woman that is not chivalrous or whatever, women are going to feel some type of way about it. So you knew women were going to be on her side regardless, especially because she's pregnant. Especially because she's pregnant. You know, that's what women love to talk about. Pregnancy, menstruation, hormones. They love to use that as justification as for why they can behave however they want to behave, and men are supposed to accept it.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about?
And you guys heard him say, if you refuse to do wifely duties. So I will say this is around the time that he was supposed to have that heart surgery that he had. The timestamp says April 2021, and I believe he had the heart surgery a couple months later. So I have no idea if he's on lockdown, if he's supposed to be in the house, if he can't go out prior to the surgery, whatever the case may be. But it's clear that there's conflict because they're locked up together and they're not getting along. And COVID highlighted this about a lot of people, and that's what people aren't thinking about. COVID actually highlighted that a lot of people being on lockdown together, a lot of relationships suffered because of that, because a lot of people, a lot of wives and husbands being cooped up together, you know, they got to learn things about one another that they didn't know. They had an opportunity to get on one another's nerves because they wasn't living a life where they get up every day, they go to work, they come home, and then repeat. So they actually got to sit down and have discussions and have talks and do things together, and it probably amplified a lot of differences that people didn't know they had with the individuals that they married. Many people didn't know that, but that's something to consider. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were interactions like this happening all over America and anywhere else that's westernized culture with utopian ideals of what relationships should be and what they should look like and how the dynamic should be. I wouldn't be surprised if this same conversation and this same level of conflict was occurring everywhere else in the world that was on lockdown from COVID that had Western ideals and values.
You first. Hillary, how do you respect a man? Yes. How do you man respect? How do a man receive love and respect? No. How does a man no, you're not taking the car.
Stephen,
you're not taking the car.
Stephen,
you are not.
Then I will ask someone to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not correct, Stephen.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Stephen, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Stephen.
Like,
See, there's just a whole bunch of, this is just a word salad of an exchange. There's no context to what they're talking about. There's no context. There's no information that can be provided on why he's even behaving the way that he is. To me, my professional opinion, if you ask me, he's clearly annoyed. This seems like a buildup of annoyance, a buildup of irritation. That's my opinion. It's speculatory, but that's what it appears to be. They're locked up together, can't go anywhere, and he's saying she can't take the car, and she's not specifying how long she needs to take the car, how long she's going to be out. None of these things are provided in the context of this conversation.
I can't go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't.
He said, just think of how boxed in you've made me. To me that means, that says that this is not the first time that something like this has happened. So that's why I said I'm wondering if he's been stuck in the house and she's been the only one with the freedom to do something. And I'm also wondering why they only have one car. Other car could be in the shop. These are questions that we don't have the answers to. And granted, we don't have the answers to these questions. That makes it that much more difficult to take a position on why this interaction is even occurring.
Or either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either. Do
I
you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Stephen.
The only way out of it is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline and respect.
Yeah. What is wrong with him saying the only way out of this is discipline and respect? That sounds like a man trying to lead. That sounds like a man trying to be logical. That sounds like a man exercising his authority. Men are not allowed to be authoritative in relationships now. It's emotional abuse for a man to be authoritative in relationships. That's what that is. We're not allowed to make certain statements that just come off as brutish or manipulative or controlling. Humanity is soft as fuck. Western civilization is soft as fuck.
Yeah, there you go. You throw your hand. You give up so easily.
I don't give up so easily.
You give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no, we are at an impasse. Okay, I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just stop engaging for a little bit. Okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem.
See, I don't know why he said that. Nah, he wilding with that. I don't love you. That's the big problem. He wilding with that, but still, even me, because I'm objective, I want to know further. I want to know further details. I want to know more, because this is not one instance or exchange where this level of discussion is occurring, where they're at an impasse, where he doesn't love her, where she needs space. These are sentences, these are statements that occur after emotional exhaustion. And emotional exhaustion occurs when there's been something chronic, something prolonged that's been going on between two individuals for an extended period of time. So this one video alone does not do it for me. I'm not going to be like everybody else and just jump to conclusions off this one video when it's only 3 minutes of an exchange between a husband and a wife who have been together for 10 years, and this occurred 2 years ago. I need to know what preceded this. I need to know what exchanges, what interactions preceded this. What was said to one another a week prior, throughout that week, a month prior, throughout that month. What has been going on? I need to know all of these things before I can give an objective assessment of if he's emotionally abusive, if she's innocent, if he's completely in the wrong, if she did nothing to him. I can't gauge that from this. I have my own personal professional opinion, but objectively, I can't support that hypothesis or fail to reject the norm. I just can't. Not from this.
I've never received love from you, and the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C.
I've never received love from you. Why does he feel as if he's never received love from her? See, that's important. That's important. He's never received love from her. You guys aren't wondering why he never received love from the woman that he married? Yeah, he may said he had picked wrong, but he says he's never received love. He's never felt love from her. He's never received love. That doesn't intrigue some of you? No, because y'all aren't that intelligent. Y'all critical thinking skills don't go that far.
You just be disciplined about it. You go, no, but I love you more than life itself. Okay, put on some gloves. No, but I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. We're at impasse.
So he's saying her words and her actions aren't matching. She says she love him more than life itself, but she doesn't act like it. And if he's saying she doesn't act like it, then that's why he doesn't feel that she has demonstrated that she loves him. So there has to be some connection between wifely duties, I don't feel love, we're at an impasse, you don't act like you love me. So something she hasn't been doing has irritated or annoyed him, and she's been doing it for some time. And you have to wonder what, because he's the provider, he makes all the money, he pays all the bills, and most of the time men don't require much from women outside of that but peace, love, appreciation, and support. So if he doesn't feel loved, then that means he doesn't feel respected. If he doesn't feel respected, then he doesn't feel appreciated. So I personally would have loved to sit down and talk with both of them about why they feel the way that they feel about one another. Both sides. Not just one side. Not just jumping on Hillary's side. Not just jumping on Crowder's side. I need to hear both perceptions of why the other perceives the other to be what they are.
Someone was in it, day in and day out, worthy of a wife, no, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage anymore. I'm going to go. Text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not trying to.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to you. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm good.
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs? No, you take that in.
And then it says, as Crowder heads inside, Stephen gets angrier and angrier and by his own admission screams, "I will fuck you up," at his pregnant wife Hillary, who then flees from their home. Now, Why does he feel that she doesn't do wifely duties? That's what I want to know the answer to. I want to know why does he feel that she doesn't do wifely duties? Listen, I didn't hear nothing crazy in this exchange. I heard an annoyed individual. I heard two annoyed individuals. One feeling like she can't take it anymore, and the other feeling like you don't do what I need you to do. But why does she feel she can't take it anymore? What is it that she can't take anymore? Him getting on her ass about her not doing what he expects her to do? Which is fair in my opinion. If I'm doing my part and you're supposed to do your part, why aren't you doing your part? And when I ask you why aren't you doing your part, this is how you respond? Are you not supposed to do your part? Do you expect me to not get on your ass about you not doing your part? I'm confused. And then, you know, I will fuck you up. Now, he crossed the boundary when he said that, because at that point, I mean, he must have been extremely angry. But I'm wondering why that wasn't captured on the audio as well. If he said that, why wasn't that captured on audio as well? Why can't we hear it? It's interesting. And then this is Candace Owens' response. Candace Owens' response is, again, what I said. This is apparently how the majority of Americans who've seen this felt about Steven Crowder talking to his wife.
I have been interested in the Steven Crowder saga pertaining to his divorce because he literally inserted me into his divorce a couple of days ago. And his wife and family are now speaking out regarding that video in which he told people publicly that his wife was leaving him. You remember this. He chose wrong. And he essentially made it sound as if he did not want his marriage to end, but his wife simply wanted to leave. Well, she has responded by giving video, and I want to prep you. I want you to know.
Oh, listen, y'all heard that right there. She has responded by giving video. She's responded. So she gave the video to the press. His ex-wife gave the video to the press. We already know what that means. That's her playing victim. That's what that is. That's her playing victim. That's her saying, he says, I'm the one who initiated. Well, I have evidence that shows he led me to want to initiate it. I have evidence that shows he said he didn't love me. She's literally playing victim. And why would she leak it to the press?
This is horrific video. It is very difficult to watch. It's especially difficult to watch because in this footage, she is 8 months pregnant.
It's a horrific video. It's difficult to watch because in this video, she is 8 months pregnant. This horrific video. Listen at the shock value she's putting on this video. This horrific video, difficult to watch. I've seen more difficult exchanges in public between a random man and a random woman who are dating than Steven Crowder and his wife. I've seen way more difficult conversations in real life between a man and his wife, a guy and his girlfriend, than the Steven Crowder video. Are we really intensifying the magnitude of this interaction to this degree, to where we describe it as horrific and difficult to watch? Now let me just say, it looks bad. The first time I seen it, I'm like, yo, bro, what is Steven doing? Like, what the hell is going on? What is this man doing? Why is he so upset? Why does it look like she's calm and he talking to her crazy? That was my initial response when I first seen the video. And then when I actually took a step back, played it over, looked at the dialogue and what was being said, and tried to interpret it and tried to give it my own context and speculate about what the situation or the circumstances could be, I didn't quite feel that way anymore. It wasn't Steven, what are you doing? It's, what the hell is going on? Why is he even saying this? Not Steven, what are you doing, but why? The question is why. That's the question. Why? What's the explanation? That's what I'm interested in. That's what I want to know. Horrific and difficult to watch. Horrific. If this is horrific, then what was Mike in Why Did I Get Married talking to Sheila? Telling her she looked like the cow jumped over the moon. Telling her, y'all know she fat as hell. I wasn't paying for 2 tickets. I've been telling her big ass to lose weight for months. That's horrific. I didn't hear him getting into Mike levels of disrespectful in that conversation. That's horrific. If anything is verbal abuse, the standard is Mike from Why Did I Get Married talking to Sheila. That's verbal abuse. That's damn near emotional abuse.
And the video essentially reveals just how emotionally abusive he has been, and she is alleging that he has been emotionally abusive to her, and this video all but confirms it.
See, and this is what I want y'all to understand. I have an issue with men being vilified for things like this, because on one end we talk about we want men to express their emotions, men should feel safe, men should be able to be vulnerable. Well, one of the ways in which men tend to express their emotions is through anger, through frustration. That's just a normal way that men tend to exhibit their emotions, in the form of anger. And I didn't see Crowder yell. He didn't call her out her name. He didn't put his hands on her. The only thing he did was say, "You can't take the car. I don't feel love. I don't feel like you love me. I don't love you." And allegedly said, "I'll fuck you up." Outside of that, there was nothing that warranted the degree of outrage that he's receiving from this video. And again, this is simply because it's his wife, it's a woman, and she's pregnant. So what does she receive? Sympathy, compassion. People feel for her. People feel for her because some people just don't like Crowder. Other people feel for her because of feminism. Men should simply not say things to women that women don't like. Things that aren't chivalrous. Things that aren't sensitive. As I said, men have to be sensitive, nurturing, supportive, caring in every way, every shape, every form, and every fashion when talking or interacting with a woman. And that's not reality. Because men are people. Men are people. Men have emotions. Men get upset. Men get irritated. Men get annoyed. What we don't know about their relationship is their relationship. We don't know shit about these people's relationship. We only know this 3-minute bit of what we seen. We don't know how they work through issues. We don't know how well they get along. And as I said, this video was from 2 years ago, 2021. He could have apologized a million times since then. Every day up to this point, he could have had on Ruben Studdard. "This is my sorry for 2004, and I ain't gonna mess up no more this year. I'ma take this one chance and make it real clear." We don't know that. This man could have been asking for forgiveness, could have been trying to work it out, could have been doing everything in his power if he felt that he really did something wrong. He could have been doing everything to make it right. And that could be why at this point he's saying he didn't want a divorce, because he may have since then have made multiple attempts to amend it, to fix it, to reconcile. He may have. We don't know. We see a clip hit the internet and then we explode in outrage. Because humans don't think. Now, the only other thing that I can think of that possibly could have led to this is him changing up who he was in the relationship based on the success and the prestige that he started to acclimate. That's it. That's it. Because it's it's reasonable for women to say, I don't know who you are anymore. You start to behave differently, act like a different person because you have a new level of success. You have a new level of wealth. You have a new level of power and influence and prestige and status. And you get big-headed. You start to become disrespectful. You start to get on your high horse. Get in your own head. Now, I can believe that if that's what led her to want a divorce, he could have became abusive emotionally, whatever the fuck that means, because I really hate that term, because emotional abuse, the term emotional abuse is so subjective, so open-ended, so vague that there's no possible way that we could measure, quantify what actually constitute emotional abuse and it remain consistent. If that was the case, humans would be emotionally abusive to each other everywhere all the time. Anytime someone says something to somebody that they dislike, disagree with, or hurts their feelings, it would technically be considered emotional abuse. Telling a trans woman that he's actually a man would be considered emotional abuse. Rejecting a woman rejecting her male friend in her friend zone who's trying to get out and it hurts his feelings could be emotional abuse. Me keeping it real with my best friend about him sucking in basketball could be emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is merely the perception of what you feel that individual is saying to you based on how it makes you feel. That's not a concrete definition. That's not something that's consistent. That changes. That changes based on how you feel that day. That changes based on how you feel about the person telling you that. That changes. But I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't have a psych degree. I'm not a certified relationship coach. I haven't been working with couples. Singles. I haven't been studying psychology for 10 years. And this is the type of shit that therapy pushes. That's why therapy is one of the least replicated areas of psychology out of all the domains, out of all the subfields. Because they keep adding subjective, interpretive, abstract shit to therapy. Concepts, constructs. Keep adding abstract, non-quantifiable shit to therapy. Emotional abuse. Because he hurt her feelings. And because it was captured on camera. Y'all can believe what y'all want. I don't give a damn, like I said, if y'all don't like it. I don't care if you unfollow, unsubscribe. I'm standing on what I said because the reality is this is not something uncommon or abnormal. And as I said, when women feel a certain type of way towards men, they can say whatever they want to the man. They can do whatever they want to the man, and we overlook it. We rationalize it. We justify it. Hell, we even laugh. We brush it off. But the moment a man criticizes a woman, holds a woman accountable, loses his cool, judges her, shames her, attempts to lead or maintain order or draw a boundary, and he does it firmly, he raises his voice, he's unable to be manipulated by her emotions and her tears, and he maintains his frame, we call that sexist, misogynistic, and now emotional abuse. And to me, that's bullshit. And nobody's going to change my mind. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next dose of the Q Pill. I'm Suave Q, aka The Q Pill. Over and out.